be a chairperson is difficult because of the time constraints and all. If you have enough time, it's a very nice place to sit and listen. So there is a time constraint, and we are already we ate 15 minutes more, like along with we need to finish. No, how many? At what time do we need to?
As long as participant and you can explain, but 6:30 I.
6:30, 1 hour. Okay. So maybe we'll stick to 5 minutes presentation and 2 minutes for question answer, and maybe we'll change the format a bit. Like the presenter will present their presentation and we'll ask a question immediately, because then people have the spirit. And if there is no question, then from the chair I'll pose a question. So I'll take a quick round of roll call. Dr. Praveen Ghosh is here. Okay. Dr. Pooja Das and Sujit Devnath. Okay, so we have the same. And I think you are Harmeet Singh. Okay. So Kiran Bhaumik and Abranil. Okay. So Sam, I think Assam Faruqi. Then wait. If I'm sorry if I am pronouncing the names incorrectly. Lalthwing Lauga.
Taite we say, you can say also.
How do you?
Taite.
Taite. Okay. I'm very bad with names. Pushpa. So we are here with all the presenters. So first I would like to request, no formalities. We really want to listen to your papers, and please ask questions, because you may feel that it's a very stupid question, but that stupid question many of us might be thinking. So even if you feel it's a very stupid and a foolish question, ask, because that will give the presenter more time to discuss about the paper. So at the very outset, I would like to call Dr. Praveen Ghosh, and he will be talking on role of women in growth and development of northeast states of India from microeconomic perspective. Am I supposed to? 5 minutes, okay?
Then Manipur, Meghalaya, these have higher, male-female ratio compared to the national average. Next slide, please. And if you see in terms of the percentage of female population, you can see on an average almost 48% population are female, subject to the total population of each northeastern states. And similarly for if you see similarly for the whole northeastern region, the male female percentage is 48%. Next slide. And now if you see the literacy rates of northeastern states, female literacy rate is higher for many of the northeastern states compared to the national average. Next slide. And if we see the gender gap, northeastern states compared to India, for India it is 16.68, whereas for many of the northeastern states are 7, 4, 3.1, much lesser compared to the national average. Next slide. And now how to link this paper with the development of women. If we see the government poverty alleviation program, SHG movement is, I think, one of the biggest program which is linked to the women at the grassroots level. As you can see that in India there are almost 70 lakhs SHGs, and out of these 70 lakhs SHGs, more than 4 lakhs SHGs are located.
You need to come to the conclusion.
Okay. More than 4 lakhs SHGs are in northeastern states. Similarly, for if you see the members, more than 7 crore members are there in India, and almost 40 lakhs members are in northeastern states. Next slide, please. And now, if we see the statewide SHGs, which are more SHGs are in Assam compared to the other states, as you can see. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. So now, if we see the coverage of SHGs, subject to the population of the state, you can see that the coverage is almost, for Arunachal, almost we have covered 8%, 23% for Assam, 5%, as you can see the percent is, and I should mention here that while calculating this, I have taken the population of all ages, female population of all ages. If I take the working age from 18 to 60, this percentage will be much higher. Next slide, please. Okay, now this is even a micro level study which shows that those SHG members which who are dealing with the secondary or the tertiary sector related activities, their repayment status is higher compared to the SHG members who are working in primary sector. That means that marginal efficiency of capital or the marginal efficiency of investment is much higher for in tertiary sector. That is why their repayment status is higher, which is shown by the R-square value, which is very high. Next slide, please. And this
Please
is
conclude.
okay, sure. This is the employment elasticity, which measures the change in employment due to change in income. And I mean, it actually measures the potentiality of that particular sector. If the value is positive, that is this sector is potential. If the value is negative, that sector is not that much potential. Next slide, please. And now if we see,
You come to the concluding.
now we see the sector-wise the value for primary sector. This is for all the northeastern states. This is negative. For secondary sector, for accepting scheme, or it is negative. And whereas more precisely for the tertiary sector, the value is higher and positive. This means that tertiary sector has potential to generate employment. That is what. And now the conclusion is that our SHG, most of the SHGs are engaged in primary and secondary related activities. So our SHGs need to shift their type of work from primary to the secondary and consequently to the tertiary sector, which shows that you can see the positive employment elasticity value showing with the help of a yellow graph, which shows the positive, and for other you can see that for agriculture and for the secondary sector this is negative. Okay, next slide.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so
very
much.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you
Will
very
you
much.
be here?
Okay.
Is there any question? So you quickly sum up. Since no question has come, so you quickly sum
And
up.
if we sum up within the service sector, and their contribution is high. So in case of SHGs, our SHGs need to shift their pattern of accumulation from primary and secondary to the tertiary sector, because the marginal efficiency of capital is high, the risk is less. Within very short time they can earn more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Praveen.
No, most of the data are collected from secondary sources. One, the regression approach I showed. This is primary data. No, all numerical. We are not using no.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you
Just
very
one
much.
suggestion. Okay. Maybe I'll give you my suggestions first.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So we'll go to the next presenter, that is Pooja Das and Dr. Surjit Devnath. I think Pooja Das is presenting. Her paper is Role of Women in Infusing Values in Children. No need to give your introduction. Start with the introduction, objective methodology findings.
Madam, my paper is qualitative.
Doesn't matter, you just talk.
So the title of my paper is Role of Women in Infusing Values in Children. So here first we need to know that what is values. Actually the word values has been derived from the Latin word valere, which means to be strong and vigorous. So actually values are very much essential for development of our children. Values, it reflects our thoughts, our thinking process, our behaviors, and it inflects our choices, our dreams, our relationships, and then our activities, judgments, etc. So values are very much important in our life, and here in my study I wanted to show that the role of women in infusing values in the children. Actually, as we know that mother is the first teacher of a child, so for inculcating proper values among the children, mother is first responsible person and guide. And for inculcating values among the children, mothers plays a great role, and And for the development of children, mothers always guide the children to inculcate proper values among the children. Actually, what values they earn from the very beginning of their life, they this such type of values help and guide the students or children throughout their life. So, values are very much essential for development of our children. Now I am discussing that why is fostering values among children necessary. From philosophical point of view, values are regarded as those principles or codes of life by following which individual tries to make the form or shape of his or her life. These are the patterns which help to make the individual's ideas, beliefs and attitudes, and which help the individual to shape his or her life in a right direction. It is very important to inculcate proper values among the children. Development of mankind is not possible without value inculcating among the children. Some of its necessities have been mentioned below. Common values are necessary to inculcate among the children to unite human beings, to develop the feelings of responsible and cooperative citizenship, social, national and international integration, to develop the spirit of patriotism, of brotherhood of mankind, and to help people to become a valuable member of society. It is also the goal of every human society to infuse desirable set of values in its children. And next one is to develop a well-balanced, strong character, behavior, and for the holistic development of children, values takes most significant role. To develop proper attitude, interest, capacity, feelings of morality, values are essential to instill among the children. Values are also essential for thinking, analysis, judgment, and complicated situations, etc. For developing various good characters among children like respecting elders, love, honesty, compassion, punctuality, discipline, purity, respect for the dignity of individual and society, it is important to impart values in the children. So here now I am discussing the role of women and their role in transmission of values to the children. Women have always played an important role as first educators for their children in inculcating values and teaching religious education in most societies and cultures, but have rarely been credited for that work. Behind it, the sense work within the confines of home is not newsworthy. It is perhaps looked at as responsibility which a woman has brought upon herself as part of motherhood. However, in the Sikh scriptures, Sri Guru Granth Sahib, there is recognition that the first religious and spiritual teacher is the mother, father being the next in line. Then the Guru, the spiritual master, God. The woman is a symbol of respect and the key person who meets physical, emotional and religious needs of children. In the development country like USA, most primary education concentrating on the state sector.
In 1 minute.
Yes, madam. It is delivered. And in India also, teachers in primary schools are trained in teaching children and are not usually subject specialists. They teach all the subjects of the national curriculum, and it is also their responsibility to facilitate a coherent approach to pupils' spiritual, moral, social and cultural development. And thus in children's life, along with teachers, parents' role is also very significant. And without parents' help, teacher cannot show the appropriate path to the all-round development of children. Even though father is also very important guide of children, but as mostly we see mother's attachment with children is high and she gives much time in family, so mother's role in inculcating values is very important. In other words, we can say that women's role is very significant for overall development of the children. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Pooja, you can be here. Is there any questions? Yes.
Not a question. Madam's topic reminded me a quote of Napoleon Bonaparte. He once said, "Give me a good mother, I shall give you a good nation." That's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Do you want to comment on his comment?
Sir, please repeat your question again.
Napoleon Bonaparte once said, give me a good mother, I shall give you a good nation. So it's very much relating to your topic, what you have role of mother woman in inculcating the values among children. So it is related in that way.
It is related because mother is the first teacher of a child.
Yeah.
And
The socialization of a child begins right from mother. So it becomes very important to for a mother to be educated.
yes,
Yeah.
Thank you. Pooja, I have a question from my side, from the chair. Now the concept of mothering has shifted to parenting.
yes, madam.
So, isn't it your paper is talking more about mothering than parenting?
Yes, madam. Because mother includes mothers comes in parents also, no? And parents is equally responsible. Father and mother both are equally responsible to inculcate proper values among the children. And mother is specifically the role of mother, woman, is very much essential, madam, for inculcating proper values among the children. Because mother is the first teacher, and she is the first responsible person or guide to inculcate proper values in her children.
This will be highly criticized if you put it in a larger forum because it is very gendered. Now the concept has totally changed that educating a mother is not building her work is not just family. Women are equal participation of development. That's why we are doing it here. So maybe you can add that parenting perception first, emphasize more on that, and how socialization needs to change. Like how the whole responsibility of mothering a child or parenting a child shouldn't rest on the women. Because I wouldn't have been able to come for this conference if I am supposed to take care of my daughter full time. So now, maybe in many of the papers, you will see how both the gender are responsible for taking care of children. So maybe you have to incorporate that.
Okay, madam.
I can help you with
Yes,
publication.
madam. Yes, madam. Thank you for
Thank you so
your
much.
suggestion, madam.
Yeah, maybe one question. Maybe there is some disturbance.
Madam, I have already included here, but due to shortage of time, I cannot discuss, madam.
Don't emphasize on mothering. We'll be critiqued thoroughly. And that too people like us sitting here.
I mentioned here the role of parents for inculcating.
Please emphasize on parenting.
Yes, madam.
Because now from maternity leave, one is going for paternity leave also. Because I have seen my daughter growing and how both masculine and feminine aspects are important for a child for a full development. Okay, maybe you can emphasize that part. Thank you so much.
I have
To see when interaction is taking place because through interaction the paper also becomes stronger. So inputs are there. So we are going to the third presenter by Harmeet Singh, who is the Commandant of BSF and Research Scholar, Center for Police Administration, Punjab University. And he'll be talking on women in bordering areas of Tripura and induction of women personnel in BSF and impact in it.
Honorable Chairperson for the technical session and the other members on the panel, members of the faculty, presenters and the participants. As the Chairperson has already introduced me, I'll move straight to the subject that I'll be talking on. The topic is women in bordering areas of Tripura and induction of women in BSF and impact analysis. As the very title speaks, its scope is going to be very limited. The partition of India in 1947, which was along with the independence that we got, it had huge consequences for our border communities, and it was much pronounced in the eastern part of the country because of many things which are dissimilar to the western part of the country. It's here that border communities were divided and the international boundary passed not only they divided the communities, they passed right through the villages. And in one case, I have even a video clip for that. It passes through the courtyard of a family. And the circumstances, the security circumstances, due to the hostile attitude of Pakistan and subsequently to some extent Bangladesh also, the country had to go for the kind of border guarding where security took precedence over public convenience. And accordingly, our border security force guarding this part of the country, that was Indo-Pak border at that time, and subsequently when Pakistan was the Bangladesh got independent, Indo-Pakistan and Bangladesh, the structure for the organization that was conceived was military structure. So we went for border guarding rather than border policing. The equipment, training, etc. it was on military lines. Accordingly, there were no women in BSF ranks, and it had consequences for women living in border areas of the entire country. And since the topic that I am today discussing about is Tripura, in Tripura also, due to many socio-cultural reasons. Women in BSF had been there right from the beginning, but they had been in supportive role. They were into medical, paramedical and clerical branches. They were combatized in 1992. What combatized means that they were, we started giving them arms training and other related things so that they can be useful members of the organization in case of hostilities in 1992. But they were not deployed on the borders. Means that they were not deployed in the executive branch, and the situation on the borders as far as border communities are concerned, it remained same. But in 2008, it was for the first time that we started inducting women, which were to be deployed in due course in borders. 637 Mala constables to begin with we inducted in border security force. As on date, or you can say in 2021, the number is we have 7 officers at the rank of assistant commandant, 15 inspectors, 131 sub-inspectors and 6,337 constables, which makes approximately 3% of the whole organization.
You have 1 minute.
Ji ma'am. Okay. I think I'll have to do it. And पिछली slide में चले जाना. पीछे चले जाना. And as I had displayed in my previous slide, as per our plans, by 2032 we plan to take it to 14 or 15% of this. So, with regard to utility of women, I carried out primary study involving 345 women, 380 of their male colleagues, which are directly impacted by their induction, 103 functional level commanders, the commanders which deal with them at the functional level, 50 supervisory level commanders. And the questioning was on 3 level grade scales of to a large extent and to some extent not at all. There will be 4 questions that I will be discussing in coming slides. I asked the opinion from all the 3 categories about as to if the induction of women has increased their operational effectiveness of the organization. And the results, the feedback that I got is given there on this slide, because subsequently I'll be discussing it. We can move on to the next slide. The next question was more pointed. Next 3 questions rather. Whether it is possible for BSF personnel to do all the duties without women. The figures are there. Next was whether they can most of the duties without involving women. The data is there. And third, last, because women are involved into certain activities which are vital for this paper and this presentation, whether BSF can carry out the duties like frisking at gates for the women. Without women, the data is here. Next, this feedback analysis is,
Can you conclude it so that if there are questions, then you can answer? Just
ma'am,
sum it
I'm
up.
about to finish. We will ask you those items. The feedback analysis is that all male BSF, that is without women, they can perform all the duties without feeling the need for women to some extent, and they can perform most of the duties without feeling the need for women to a large extent. However, it will be difficult to perform duties like frisking of women at gates, fence gates, without the women. Now, I got the perspective of the border population also, which I got it by way of holding focus group discussions in 3 districts of Tripura, that is Tripura West, Sipai Jila, and South Tripura. Next. And the outcome that I got from those discussions was that women folk now feel more confident going out for routine jobs during odd hours. Women and children feel more secure in presence of women BSF personnel. Involvement of women in trans-border crimes has reduced drastically. Improvement in, there has been, they have also noticed an improvement in conduct of BSF personnel deployed on the borders, and there is an enormous improvement in working relationship between BSF and border population. Next. So that's to conclude, that induction of BSF, women in BSF ranks has addressed many issues that were source of disharmony between BSF and border population. Women folk feel more safe and can work during odd hours now. It effectively addresses the issue of involvement of females in trans-border crimes, and situation is likely to improve further with induction of more women in BSF ranks. Third point I would like to lay a bit emphasis on, because as you are, I touched upon it earlier also, that due to many socio-cultural reasons and even there is a legal provision also in the CRPC, no woman can be searched by a male person for any reasons. So we had a huge handicap searching women folk who were involved in trans-border crimes. So with that, I conclude. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer that.
Thank you so much. Since we superseded with your time, maybe during the tea breaks or tomorrow, they can ask a question. Thank you so much. We are going to the next presenter. It's by Kiran Bhome, Rular Women for the Development of Northeast, the Study of Northeast Region. It's a joint paper by Kiran Bhome and Sarup Chandra Roy. Kiran is
Yes. Good evening, respected Chairman Madam. It is indeed a great pleasure to be presented here in this seminar on role of women for the development of the Northeast, organized by the Department of Rural Studies, Tripura University, in collaboration with Tripura Livelihood Mission. Now I am Kiran Bhome. Welcome all the respected dignitaries in this presentation session. The paper is jointly presenting by Saurabh Chandan Roy and me. In introduction, I want to say, in accordance with the report, during July to September 2021 NSS survey period, the labor force participation rate in percentage in CWS in urban areas for person of age 15 years and above reported 19.9% in case of female. The data indicates the declining rate of female labor force participation rate from to 20.3% during July to September 2020 to 19.9%. And the declining rate of female labor force participation rate indicates that the women are getting their work, and the report published by the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, that the women percentage out of total has increased 54.72% 772 in financial year 2021 to 2020-22 from 54.9 in financial year 2018 to 19 under MGNRGA in the country India. The Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act is a program in which it has focused on generation of wage employment and a creation of sustainable and productive asset, assuring a sustainable source of income for the rural poor people. The creation of sustainable and productive asset gives assurance a sustainable source of income for the rural poor people in village. Keeping it in mind, the government of India gives effort over a period of time to create quality assets with the help of different development programs like MGNREGA REGA in village areas for the benefit of the villagers in the country India. The present study reveals that the contribution of women for creating sustainable and productive asset in the northeastern region comprises with 8 states: Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. The study also revealed women percentage out of total under MGNREGA REGA among northeastern states. Average wage rate per day per person, average days of employment provided per household, and the contribution of women in case of financial inclusion among the northeastern states. The objectives of the study: to study the contribution of women for the development of northeastern region in case of creating asset in the country India. Second objective: to study the female labor force participation for asset creation in northeastern region of the country India. To study the average wage rate per day per person for asset creation by women under MGNREGA REGA program in northeastern region of the country India, because wage rate gives an opportunity to earn income for women. To study the contribution of women in case of financial inclusion in northeastern region of the country. For this study, the simple mathematical technique like percentage and the help of descriptive statistics are being taken to analyze the data collected from Ministry of Rural Development Department, Government of India. The first table shows the administrative setup in Government of India, which reveals that a total of 731 numbers of district in India, 7,149 blocks and 2,69,400 GPs and all the other things are being shown in the table, which shown in slide.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, ma'am.
Maybe you can quickly talk about your main findings.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. The main findings of this paper: the creation of sustainable and productive asset gives assurance a sustainable source of income for the rural poor people in village. And the importance of asset creation under this MGNREGA REGA program has been giving opportunity to create asset under Anganwadi and other rural infrastructure, coastal areas, drought proofing areas, rural drinking water, food grain, flood control and other protection, fisheries, micro irrigation works on individuals, land development, playground, rural connectivity, rural sanitation, Bharat Nirman, Rajiv Gandhi Seva Kendra, water conservation and water harvesting and renovation of traditional water bodies. In accordance with this information, it has clear that the role of women plays an important role for the for creating the sustainable and productive asset under MGNREGA REGA in rural areas for the benefit of rural people. The program MGNREGA REGA has positive impact in creation of individual as well as community asset in the northeastern region. In fact, the study also suggests that impact of the MGNREGA REGA program on asset creation also greatly vary by the location specific factors and kind of activities performed in each of the location. The contribution of women in case of asset creation are here in northeastern region for giving assurance a sustainable source of income for the rural poor people in the northeastern region. Due to time shortage, I am unable to present all the tables and all the findings. Thank you to all.
You can read now.
Yes.
Any questions from the floor?
Yes.
You have mentioned employment data for the year 2021. Employment NSS report was published in 2011, and after 7 years, again in 2017.
No, Propita, it is also available in our website. You can go PIB, Press Information Bureau of India.
But you have mentioned.
And it is also published in.
NSS report is published every 5 years. It was published in 2011 then.
No, Propita, it is also available in net. I can share this data with you.
Let him finish his question first, then you answer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, NSS report, it is published every 5 years. The 68th round report was published in 2011, and again after 7 years, it was delayed by 2 years. In 2017-18 periodic labor survey report, which was notified by Government of India, it was published in 17-18.
Please ask your question.
Yeah, but after that, how have you gather or assemble the data?
If you need data, then I can share with you. It is available in my laptop also. So I can share with mail. Okay, in mail.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your wonderful question.
Thank you so much, Kiran. I'll give your comments on your paper towards the end of your
Okay.
Thank you so much. Next is by Abranil Bhattacharya. It's a joint paper by Abranil and Abdul Rahman Chaudhary. Introduction, objective, methodology, and findings.
Good evening, everyone. I am Abdul Rahman Chaudhary, research scholar, Department of Tribal Studies and Ethnics, and my co-scholar, Abranil Bhattacharya. So we jointly work on this paper. Impact of entrepreneurship on social inclusion of women. So we have conducted this study in West Tripura district and on 385 women entrepreneurs. So our objective of the study to assess the entrepreneurial support system, impact of entrepreneurial support system on women entrepreneurship. As we know that entrepreneurial support system includes training support, support for financial support, family support, marketing support, all these things like entrepreneurial ecosystem or entrepreneurial support system. So we just assess that impact of entrepreneurial support system on women entrepreneurship. And second one is impact of second one is to reckon the influence of entrepreneurship on social inclusion of women. So we have used purpose methodology, and we have gone through some literature review and several articles on this thing mentioned, and conceptual model, three things we have mentioned: training support and entrepreneurial support of the government and social support. And all these three things push into marketing support, and marketing support from marketing support to social inclusion of women. So this is all about the paper and methodology. I already said that purposes of methodology, and result and discussion will be continued by Aurel Bhattacharya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. The methodology part, the sample has been collected over from 385 beneficiaries from the KVIC, KVIB, PMKVY and RootSet Institute from Agartala. And along with that, our target population is all the women, those who are registered under those institutes. Next is the sampling area we have targeted is in the West Tripura district.
Go to your results and discussion.
And I am shifting on to the results and discussion. It has been found that 31.09% of women are dependent on the trading support. After we have analyzed through the statistical package for social sciences software and through the smart PLS software. The next comes is the market related support, which has an impact of 12.52%. So it has been found that the positive support from the market enterprises has increased the growth of entrepreneurship. The third is the entrepreneurial support system that is being provided by the government. So from that, it has been found that 10.07% of this positive influence is there. So next slide, please. After that, we see some social support that is just the 7.11%. And finally, after amalgamating all those points, we come to the final that the social inclusion of women after through that we can see that it is 5.03%. Now the next thing that comes is the conclusion part. So in the conclusion, it has been found that women entrepreneurs are highly encouraged, majorly due to the two pertinent factors. That is the training support that I have told that is impacted of 31.09%, and secondly the marketing support, which is 12.52%. And in parallel to that, they focus on choosing that entrepreneurship as a career opportunity. The next thing is that through the involvement in the entrepreneurial activity, their income level, social status, economic status, that helps them to stay in the mainstream of their life. Next, please. Now there are some recommendations that have been found. That is, the government may focus on establishing some memorandum of understanding with different private and government bodies. Those are like in the form of schemes, projects, programs, so that those particular women group that can be helped or that can be supported. The next comes is that there should be a balance on the support system. The third is that an increase in the awareness program that would limit the social stigmas that is in the society, along with the women's family level problem, and support them to increase their willpower, dignity, and inspiration of the women. The next comes is the government support. That is mostly important, and with that the most phenomenal thing is that the technical support, which is in the integral part. Like they need to have a physical schemes, they need to get access of the physical schemes, time limited
Please
project.
continue.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Technological information support, easy licensing and registration facilities. Next, please. Yeah, this one is the justification of all those factors that I have included and that of the percentages that I have mentioned. So here, this model has given like that TS is training support. What is the percentage we have got? The SS is the social support. Below we can see that marketing support, entrepreneurial support, and at last social inclusion of women entrepreneurs. So this is all. Thank you so much.
Any questions?
Ma'am, I would like to know what kind of institutional training you have talked about.
These are all the training. Those who are based on the entrepreneurial growth, like we can say that handloom,
Or enhancing
skills, like training, EDB trainings, PMEGP trainings, then papad pickle masala making, then the micro business establishment. All those we have focused on.
These all are institutionalized.
Yes. All these are institutionalized, and this has been set up by the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India.
Software also providing such kind
Yes.
of training.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Any more questions from the floor?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
We are going to the next presenter. This is from Women Maite Pangal Women of India.
Thank you, ma'am. And good evening to one and all, our respected chairpersons of the sessions, and to all the participants. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our Sir Arindam sir for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And with you permissions from our chairpersons, I would like to start. Okay. I remember that day while I was watching an Olympic event where Mirabai Chalu was lifting an Olympic medal, silver medals, as our first Maidan medals. That times everyone who were watching that event were happy and excited, and even in all over India they were congratulating and contributing, that enjoying celebrating the success. That time itself, one thought come up in my mind, that why the many women from other communities from Manipur, they are celebrating, they are contributing their parts in games and sports, but not from a community like Midai Bangal community from Manipur. And Midai Bangal community is a community in Manipur which follow the Islamic religion, which follows the Islamic religions. That point of time totally engrossed me to go for a study on this topic. And next slide, please. And here related with the topics, I have framed out few points of objectives. That is to find out the present parental attitudes towards their daughters' participations in games and sports, and to find out whether community environment provide needed support for Mitai Pangal's women participation in games and sports, and to find out whether tradition and customs encourage Mitai Pangal women to take part in sports and games. And last objectives to find out whether Mitai Pangal women might have a low self-concept in sports and games. Next slide, please. And for method of data collections, I have chosen primary survey, and on that 50 students were selected from different colleges of Manipur as purposively, and WOSPI questionnaires tool was used. WOSPI is a questionnaires tool. It was developed by Nalaru Srinivasa Rao and his guide, namely P. Chinnappa Reddy of Krishna Devaraya University. And in this questionnaire, it contains of 40 statements. Is 10 questions of that statement focus on the different dimensions like parental, community, traditions, and personal factors. So I have taken these questionnaires, and for analysis of data, for statistical analysis, I have used a Likert scale. On that scale, the significance level between the groups is found 0.01 and F value 7.315, and within the groups there was no significance values. And next slide, please. From that, we came to know that parental constraint is having a higher negative attitudes towards the participations of women in games and sports. Secondly, community environment, and third, traditional and customary, and fourth, personal. So next slide, please. And with that, come to the conclusion that there had been a lack of encouragement from the parents and the family members, and the lack of sports awareness among the parents obstructed Manipuri Mitai Pangal women's participation in games and sports, and the religious beliefs and traditional way of living were a big hurdle of Manipuri Mitai Pangal women in taking part in games and sports. Traditional inequality was also a major concern in women sports participations. Lastly, I would like to recommend education's career guidance and awareness in terms of games and sports in the community is highly necessary to enhance the participations of women of Mitai Pangal community of Manipur. With this slide, I would like to conclude my presentation.
Thank you so much. And it was something very much out of the box thought. And I request any participation from the floor to ask question if there is any. If there is none, then I may pose a question. Maybe I would like to give you some suggestions, because one of my scholar, she did a study on women in sports. So since she did it through qualitative method, many things emerged about experiences. So maybe is it a working paper or you are doing some research on it?
Maybe it's a working paper.
Working paper. Maybe you can use mixed method, where you have qualitative, quantitative, and a mixed thing, where you will get a qualitative understanding of the experiences of women, like the untold stories, the marginalized voice of the women.
Yes.
Another thing is that this is a question to you. What about puberty? Like, does puberty act as a hurdle for women from that community to participate in sports? Did you ask this question?
No, ma'am, I did not concerned about the question that you have asked.
Maybe if you look at that, because this is one of the major findings that we found out, like how after attending puberty, the women who are in sports in Assam, the parents are reluctant to send them for training, and even they are a good sports person, they can't. They cannot take it as a career, they cannot pursue. So maybe through narratives you can find out those findings. Those things may emerge.
Ma'am, that dimension is not included in my study, but even though if we talk as I belongs from games and sports, I am a football player, and I can say I have gone through many research related with girls, puberty, all those things, but it doesn't affect in any performance basis by the available literatures.
Performance is a social stigma. Okay. Those social stigmas, if you highlight,
yes,
that because in almost all the papers I found a social aspect missing.
Yes.
But we don't talk about it.
Yes.
But that social factor is one of the greatest barrier for women giving full participation as a progressive as a citizen of India.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Inviting me in this seminar and making me part of this seminar. My topic is on women in the development. So we cannot ignore women for the development of the country or any part. So for development, every section is important. So we cannot ignore the women for their development. So development is very crucial for every section of the society. Now, how this development took place through SAG, that is what I want to show in my studies. SAG is a small informal association formed with 10 to 20 members, but in case of tribal hilly area, minimum SAG can be formed with 5%. So it is for the inclusion, to bring inclusion in the financial sector, in the rural sector, through which they can cultivate the different opportunity that lies in the rural sector, through skill development, leadership, and motivation. My study is conducted at Chalita Bari village, which is under Kila RD block, Tripura district. So in order to study the impact of SHG in the development sector, I have used both primary and secondary data, and the sampling size were 50%, which is 50 member of the SHG. Next. So first I use the analysis of their income, and this is on their educational status, and illiterate it has 68% out of 50 respondents, and primary, secondary, and higher secondary. And in the study of that SAG, I didn't find any graduate and above respondents. Next. The income before SAG, before infusion of SAG, the income level of those SAG members were 0 to 2000, 74% has responded as their income level, and 16% has responded as 2001 to 4000, and 4001 to 6000 has responded by 10%. Next slide. And this is after the infusion of SAG into the women life. 0 to 2000, now 2% has responded as their income level after infusion, and we can see that more than 54% has responded between 6001 to 8000, which show that before the SAG formation their income level has increased. Next slide. And these are some of the major factors that influence educational empowerment in the women through SAG, after formation of the SAG. And we can see that improvement in reading and writing, that is 42% has responded, 42% has responded, and knowledge of banking operation. This one they have acquired, that all the respondents has agreed that they have improved and they have acquired the knowledge of banking operation, can handle banking transaction independently. We can see that 26 respondent has responded, that is 52%, and can maintain proper ledger accounting, understand SAG operation and approach, improvement in skill through training. 50% has responded that after infusion with SAG their skill has been improved. Next slide. And these are some of the SAG made product that is available in the website of 3RLM. In this table I have shown district wise. In South Tripura, Gomadi Tripura, we can get those products, and how to avail this product, how to order that product, we can
Please continue.
Yes. Next. And these are some of the livelihood activities, and that is done by the SAG member. Next. And these are non-farm livelihood activities. And these are some of the achievement and recognition of the SAG. And these are the TRLM achievement 2018 to 2021 for financial year, and SAG promotion 29,737, and household been mobilized 2,68,544, and in this table we can see that BO formation, cluster level federation, revolving fund distribution. And these are some of my findings of this study. The level of the SAG member has increased after being part of the SAG member, and improvement in skill through SAG training, increase in social empowerment. They have learned how to do banking transaction, and they also know to start up small activity for income generation, etc. Women are more organized than before. They are now part of the inclusion policy because they have enrolled in the insurance scheme, other benefited scheme through the GP level, and various product and opportunity create for income generation through this SAG, and improvement in self-employed through farm and non-farm activities. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any question for the presenter? I too don't have a question. I have a comment which I put towards them. Thank you so much. Why you look so nervous? Mine, it's over now. Okay, now we have the last presenter, that is Pushpa, and she'll be talking on making female sports a sense of big techs with media in Tripura. If we have to truly embrace and learning mindset.
Good afternoon, one and all. Before starting my PPT, I would like to share a quote with you. Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of human spirit. We are all the same in the notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us. Next slide. So before starting my PPT, there is a one picture and a one question to everyone, so that at the end of the session, or you can say at the end of the PPT, we will ask to ourselves, is it true or false? Next please. It's not just a matter of winning a medal at the Olympic. It is a matter of pride, the pride for your hard work and dedication, and the hard work for your dedication, the value of your sweat, your parents and family support. It's not just a medal. Next please. So let's start the PPT with the introduction. To turn the communication research from sender-oriented to research-oriented, it is most preferable to make organization change and awaken the audience and the player with a detailed suggestion on ideas, money, manpower, and quality of program production will enhance the media utilization. Next please. Despite our best intention is to educate and inform around gender equality, in the practice we have witnessed little perceptible change. Amidst a time of rapid innovation, perhaps it is time to also reframe the way in which we collectively study, think and talk about women's sports. Next please. Next. The study will provide comprehensive knowledge to draw the attention of society towards the sports and physical activities regarding their girls and females to be empowered in all aspects, especially in games and sports. The purpose of this study was to perceive attitude regarding female sports and to examine how increasing exposure to female sports impact attitude towards female sports participation or female sports in Tripura. The main objective of the study is to know the status of female participation in sports in Tripura through media. Next please. A self-constructed and reliable questionnaire was used with 300 participants, female participants from different sports culture from 8 districts of Tripura, and their age ranges between 16 to 20 years. and researchers personally administer the questionnaire among the athletes with clarifying all the questions and doubts to the participants. Next please. Next please. As the findings of the study indicate that number of respondents agree with the extremely favorable condition of media for representing the portrayal of female sports participation is 1.33% only. The respondents who considered the place with high level of media role in females participation in sports are 11.33%, whereas 78% respondents considered that at moderate level. Among the respondents, 7.67% have considered the low level of media role in portrayal of female sports, while 1.33% have accepted the media support at very low level. As it can also be seen from the graph that moderate, or you can say that the role of media played at Tripura was not so high and so low, but still the percentage of respondent matters. And let's go to the main part of the presentation. Next please. There are few questions I would like to share with all of you. Is there anyone, any contributor whose influence and insight we might be missing? What we are not paying attention to regarding female sports to media? Are we overlooking systematic factors that might be haven't conceived? Next please. So let's start with the rethinking of women's sports culture and research. Portrayal shown in media and newspaper. As we all know that while looking to the newspaper or any of the news in the television, objectification of sportswomen have been shown in different way. Like people start giving their objectification of sportswomen. Next one is objectification.
Please, Samba.
Emphasize on male authority figures. Whenever any of the female tries to give her best, people tries to give the image of her achievement in form of male. Next one please. Here is one of the story of one of the famous athlete, you can say. She is represented America at international level with winning number of medals. Imagine you are spending your whole life in a training and practicing with decades of hard work and dedication, and all of the above that you have natural talent which made you at the top performer of the world. While during your training days you are practicing alongside the best athletes and pushing yourself to perform beyond your limits, and suddenly when you saw your other training partners performing at Olympic Games but you have not, that brings you in a complete sadness and disappointment. But still you were saying, I am sad, I can't be there, but I will by watching to support my friend. This pain of hiding your feelings and hard work to your passion not only pinched you but killing you your self-confidence. The dream that you had for yourself that one day you will be in the Olympics and the whole world would see you in a television. That dream remained incomplete without your mindset. Instead, you are kicked out of the Olympics simply because you are a woman. This is a story of American sky jumper Lindsay when she began her training in sky jumping from the age of 7 years. In 2009,
Please wind up.
okay. Conclusion. Okay. Our mission with this research is to cultivate curiosity, challenge assumption, question the status quo, and promote the innovative research culture that can help to move the entire field of women's sports forward by redriving strategies and building theories. We want to pause and rethink how we stay present and solve problems in women's sports so that we are better positioned to affect, sustain, and real change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any questions on the floor? Yes. Loudly.
Mike.
रैंडम सैम्पलिंग, एक्चुअली खेलो इंडिया कंपटीशन चल रहा था जिस टाइम पे मैंने ये डाटा कलेक्ट किया है। जहाँ जहाँ पे ये कंपटीशन हुआ था मैंने वहीं पे जाके सारा डाटा कलेक्ट किया है, उनके कंपटीशन से 5 या 10 मिनट पहले। नहीं, रैंडम भी कह सकते हैं क्योंकि वहाँ पे जाके मैंने खुद उनसे कलेक्ट किया है और वहाँ पे और गेम के भी बच्चे थे। जी, मैं स्पोर्ट्स अथॉरिटी के पास गई थी जो यहाँ त्रिपुरा में जो हायर स्पोर्ट्स था। पार्टिसिपेंट्स को प्रॉपरली हर क्वेश्चन ब्रीफ किया, उनसे भरवाया, सिर्फ फीमेल पार्टिसिपेंट्स जिन्होंने त्रिपुरा को नेशनल और स्टेट लेवल पे रिप्रेजेंट किया हुआ है।
Thank you so much. Maybe I'll just wrap up because thank you so much. You can take it. There are some. I'll just quickly say about each of this paper, which I put, which strike me a bit. The first paper, I found certain things like Sikkim. There, Sikkim data where you need not respond, and it's just my observation. Like those you can link up. In certain areas, the sex ratio is low, whereas secondary in the secondary sector, the percentage of employability or engagement is high.
This is because of the pharmaceutical sector. I think pharmaceutical sector is.
Do you keep it for yourself? It's just my comment. So maybe those things you can highlight, and that makes the paper very interesting. So because it strikes us, and also maybe from that paper you can look into the unorganized sector. Because these are data. These are data which you find from this because there are many data which are not available. Gender segregated. So even it doesn't come to our mind that when we collect the data, let us do it on the basis of gender. So once we get the gender segregated data, it becomes easier to understand. But the biggest problem in India is that we don't have gender segregated data. So as researcher, like you can start collecting, even though it's late, but it's never late. So you can start collecting gender segregated data. When you collect the data, collect data on the basis of gender. When I say gender, it's not just men and women. You can also collect the queers or the third gender. And when we are talking about role of women and values, I think I have already given lots of thoughts there. Now, Sir has asked about the values. So that question was there in my mind. What type of values are you talking about? Are you talking about the social value, cultural value, economic value? So, and also like what type of values are inculcated by the father, by the mother? So maybe that will break the different type of gender stereotypes that we have. Like, and how do they gather those values? What are the factors which influence these values? It's not just the mother. There are different types of socializing agents. Maybe the textbooks, which are so very gendered. From where do they collect this? From where do they gather this value? And how the parents plays a role. So, as I stated, give importance to parents first, then you can look into the mothers also. Now, the third paper, which was by Harmeet Singh, I think that paper would really bring in a huge change if you can give some recommendation, policy recommendation. Because ESF is one area which is pan-India. So your work is, even though it's from Punjab, you're doing from Punjab University, the recommendation can bring in lots of changes. So I would rather request you to highlight those recommendations because I think you are in the verge of submitting your PhD. So, and publish your work because this is an area where we can't do much since you are an insider. Your positionality will make a huge change and it will sell like hotcakes and there will be huge readers. And next is Role of Women by Kiran. Kiran's paper looked very ambitious because you had lots of data. We ourselves got confused which table you are talking about, and it's very ambitious because you have, maybe it's you, maybe it's Kiran, that's why it's ambitious, I don't know. but your paper looked like that. And one thing, like somewhere I was finding the question that you asked in the initial part, I found it very interesting. Like why the proportion of women in the labor force has decreased. I was looking for the answer. Somewhere the answer didn't come. And yeah, maybe that's why we want to know, because you started with the question and this question really excited us. But the answer somewhere got lost. So maybe you can modify the, because when you're talking about role of women for the development of Northeast. But when you're talking about Northeast is such a diverse region. I think it's high time that we should stop calling ourselves Northeast. Because Tripura is so different from Assam is so different from Manipur.
Program topics is related with North.
Yeah.
So I focus North.
I
have
give,
data.
Yeah, I'll give you a suggestion what you can do. Like your topic, you did not change much. Role of women in the development of Northeast, a case study of Tripura. That to justify your thing, because, and case study of rural Tripura, because you talk about NREGA, which is not again talking, so it become more precise. So maybe to the universities, organizers, it's very important to know how to write a research paper. Writing a research paper is a skill, and we people like sir also, maybe we have learned this skill through our experiences, but the youngsters like you can be trained, because if you do not publish your paper, you will perish. It is very important to publish your paper. And if you do not publish your paper, somebody may hear you here or anywhere, and they can publish your same thought. Then you will not be able to claim that it is your work, because you haven't published. So if while doing your PhD, publish 2 or 3 papers where you yourself can give reference in your own PhD. And when you write a paper, words matters a lot. You'll be given only 5,000 words. So how to combine 3 sentences within 1 sentence, put all the meanings there, that you will learn. It's not difficult, it's just a techniques. Okay, so that is also important, which I saw it in the paper. Then number 5, impact of, that was social support. Yeah, I was looking for the Abrani. I was looking for the social factors. Like 7 something you wrote, 7%. Why less? Maybe the social aspect in all the papers went missing. And why it went missing? Because of the methodology. And what is the methodology? Most of the papers are based on quantitative data. And you're talking about women. And in quantitative data, there are no women. Women are invisible in the quantitative data. So how to gather information from them? So you have to use either mixed methodology or go for qualitative methodology. If you go for qualitative research, you get so much of rich information about women, about narratives. Like since I was from geography and then I joined women's studies, I know what's the difference between the two very strongly. Quantitative is about numbers, right? Qualitative is about words. And women are confined in the words, and we are not taking women's voices. So how it will come in your research work? So go for qualitative research. And qualitative research are so rich, and mix it together, because you already have the talent, or you already know how to do quantitative research. So you can use both qualitative and quantitative, and that will make a research so rich. Language will not matter. And the biggest asset or biggest advantage that we have of Northeast is that whatever you touch is researchable. Change the paradigm. There should be a shift in the paradigm from quantitative to qualitative. There are new models which are coming, grounded theory. Grounded theory means you have no data, you have no theories. And you don't know which theory to apply for your studies. You go to the ground, create your own theory, and add it in your work. That becomes a grounded theory. So and you have to theorize your paper. Okay. Next is that women in sports. I already gave you the suggestion, make it a qualitative research, listen to the women, whatever we feel is correct for men may not be correct for women. Women have a different experience, so their knowledge will also be different, the experience will also be different, thereby the knowledge that you create from your research will also be different. And number 7 was by, again, a long name. You can do cross tabulation. I found it very interesting. Now you have the software SPSS. You do cross tabulation. Then you can pinpoint in which areas there are the weakness, which area has the strength. The areas which have the strength, where it is prospering with the self-help group, those areas can be model area, and those areas where it is not progressing, those areas can be problematic areas. So you can do a study. How can you find out which areas are having problem? Do cross tabulation. Try to relate one parameter with another parameter. You just have to have the software and you incorporate there few commands and you get all the information. And the last paper, I found the methodology to be a the methodology was not strong, and I think you went with emotion. Many of the papers which look like it was very subjective, but subjective, you can do subjective study. Subjectivity is a very strong area of doing research, but the methodology part was not clear. How did you do the data? Maybe when she has asked you the question, you started answering. So I would rather suggest, like, if I would have got the opportunity to do that work, I would have used content analysis of the newspaper and descriptive analysis. Descriptive means same content analysis only. Descriptive analysis of the narratives in the newspaper, in the news, in the media. That would, if your methodology is strong, methodology is the brain of your paper. So if your methodology is strong, automatically things will come out the way you want. So these are my broad observation, or not broad observation, pinpoint observation about each of the papers. Now, as a whole, what I found is that the social aspect of each of the papers, somewhere it didn't come out. The economic factors came out. Because economic factors are measurable and economic factors are promoted also through policies. But whatever government is in the center or in the periphery, whatever, the social factors are usually not touched by the policymakers. So we as academicians, we need to highlight the social factors, and more so with women. Not just women, about the marginalized sector, about the people who are in the margin, people who are in the periphery. So those can be brought up by looking into the social factor. And so to find out the social factor, it's difficult because it is subjective. So those subjective aspects can be brought up through qualitative research. So qualitative aspect in almost on the paper went missing because it was quantitative. And again, when a paper is written, one should be very careful with the words that you use. Manpower, men force, these are gendered words. Human power, human forces. So, and now if you say, and these will be highly critiqued when you send for your reviews. So you should be careful with what type of language you use when you write a paper. As a whole, all the papers are publishable. You just need to do a bit of homework. Give a fine tuning, and wonderful papers, wonderful thoughts, a bit of tuning here and there needs to be done. So that's all I would like to say, and if there is anybody from the organizer, I would like to request that please, I took the liberty of giving time to the presenters. Even though I made it 5, I made it 7, 8, whatever I like. Because everybody was so engrossed. Everybody was interested to listen to the papers. So why not give the time? If I have the power to do it, I did it. I think we all enjoy. So to the organizers, there should be few papers and thorough discussions. Because lots of effort goes in for presenting a paper, because don't stay limited just to Tripura University. Maybe you will be invited. Send your papers for publications to not one journal, 2-3 journal, at least 1 or 2 will accept it. Publish it. Don't look for UGC carries. Don't look for that. Go for Scopus. I had that fear. I also had that fear of publishing. I was so afraid like to send it to Scopus. It got selected. Once one got selected, I started sending more. Now I send only in Scopus. Do it. It will be thoroughly reviewed. You will feel you don't know anything. I felt it after doing my PhD. I was thoroughly criticized. My paper got thoroughly criticized. I thought, what's going on? I was feeling shy of myself. But after I added, it gave a different shape altogether. After you publish, make the people read your paper. Put it in Google Scholar, put it in Scopus, go for open access journals. You need not pay anything. And it is there in different, if you just type your name, the list of papers will come out and readers will read your papers. And that is one of the biggest achievement as a researcher, when people reads it. Okay? So, present your papers in some good seminars, get more reviews, work it up, publish it. And since Mahato is here, please give more time to the presenters. At least 20 minutes should be given to each presenter. This is how it works. 12 minutes for presentation, rest 8 minutes for discussion. This is how it happens in international seminars. And why Tripura cannot have an international? We could have some.
Today's technical session. We shall meet tomorrow morning at 9:15 am sharp in the same venue. Good night.